गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. When Amrit Anubhav, chapter 7, verse number OV 180, 186 is it? Or 185?
That is the one in the sea swallow the sea.
186. The principle of seer-seen difference and substratum is explained through examples which in themselves constitute contemplative exercises. Here it is told in the previous verse, just towards the conclusion, that as much as we give other people's experience zero value, so many people are having experience in the world. How much value do we give them? Who cares, That much value you must give to your experiences also. Don't give value. The more you dilute the experiencer, the only way to dilute the experiencer is by not giving value and attention to the experience that is taking place. And as that comes up, as that goes on, as the experiencer becomes weaker and weaker and weaker and dilutes away, to that extent the eye of wisdom will open up. This now उठिला तरंग वैसे पुढ़े आनुही नुमसे ऐसा ठाई जैसे पानी होए. Just as when a wave has arisen and also subsided, but the next wave has not yet arisen, at that point there is only water. Now put it subjectively. When a wave of thought has arisen and then died away, and the next thought wave has not come up, at that junction it is only the consciousness, the self, the reality. This way contemplate. You can do it between the thoughts, you can do it between the breath also. One wave has arisen and has subsided. The second wave has not yet come up. At that point it is only water. It is neither wave nor ocean, but it is present with equal ease in both, in the duality as well as in non-duality. Whether it is a wave or ocean or a dewdrop, the water continues to be itself. So this is very easily understood. Water is water, whether it is expressed. If there is a wave, it is still water. If it is no wave, it is still water. At the juncture of two waves, it is still water. Why is it so difficult to understand or be the consciousness that when there is a thought, the consciousness, because of the consciousness itself is expressing as thoughts. In and through the thoughts is consciousness. Then after the thought has died, then also consciousness continues to be till the next thought again comes up. The cloth is in and through all the creases, isn't it? So whether there is a crease or no crease, or between the creases, everywhere the cloth is. In this way, ascertain your essential nature. The more we take ourselves to be the experiencer, to that extent we are falling short in being who we essentially are. In the same way, thought waves rise and die, but when the last thought has been thought of and there is no more next thought, at that point there is only pure self, the water, the consciousness, and this way come to be. This is an example taken, and you can take this example of the thought or the breath and sit in meditation. Our Ramana Maharishi says, Prana bandhanat liyate manaha. That at the juncture of two breaths, put your mind. What do you mean by putting that mind? You will find that you are that. See, these are windows where you can access yourself. A second example based on our everyday experience follows. Ka needa saroni geli, jagruti nahi chaili, tevha hoya apuli, sthiti jaisi. Or it is like when the sleep is over but we are not fully awake. Or it is like when the sleep is over but we are not fully awake. When sleep is over, we are not fully awake, is like when right now you come out of meditation but you are not aware of it. You are still intoxicated by the calm mind, the empty mind, or being with yourself, and the world hasn't entered into your mind yet. Sometimes it happens when we are talking, we are in the satsang after the meditation, the words are falling on your ears, but it takes a little bit of time to, okay, I have to concentrate now. Yeah? The sleep is over, but the waking state has not yet fully arrived. This junction between manifestation of consciousness and disintegration of consciousness as the knower knowledge is called yoga bhumika. So, what was happening in in deep sleep? Disintegration of consciousness. And what is happening in waking? Again, appearance of consciousness. And what in here consciousness means the awareness, and what is it expressing as? Experiencer, experienced, and experiencing. That consciousness is appearing as that. Because you know consciousness only through thoughts at the moment, isn't it? There are two principles, one of sentiency, the other of knowingness. In deep sleep, sentiency alone is. Life functions go on, but there is no awareness of the gross world. When the deep sleep plane of consciousness is rejected in the sentiency, knowingness is born, which creates the trio. So, what happens in deep sleep? Life continues. Digestion continues, the blood flow continues, the breath continues. Who is maintaining all those functions? There must be some life. That is the life principle. But now that life principle, that sentiency, did you know that this is going on? That is important now. In deep sleep, did you know that this is going on? Now after waking up you are saying, but while you are sleeping, did you know that the sentiency, the life, that essence that you are, it is supporting all the functions, the bodily functions? You don't know. Not or anything. But now when you wake up, you know, in deep sleep, all the functions were being maintained by some power. They say that power I am, that consciousness that I am, that support I am, that source I am, which is undisturbed by all the functionings. Oh, I am that life principle. Oh. But now, in deep sleep there was no mind, yet functions were maintained. In waking, also those functions are maintained. But now what is happening in the waking? You are thinking about. Now you are formulating thoughts. And formulating thoughts is the appearance of knower known, knowing, experiencer experienced and experiencing, seer seen, seeing, etc., etc., etc. The trio starts appearing the moment you wake up. This is called knowingness. This is called knowingness. These are just terms. You have to, in what context they are taken, you have to understand that. Here the reference is made to that point. Here the reference is made to that point where deep sleep state has left and there is now sentiency as well as potentiality for manifestation as knowingness which is not yet manifested. It is objectless awareness. So when we wake up in the morning and we are still rolling in the bed, the eyes are, you are awake, but the eyes are not ready to open up to the world. The room is there, the light is off. You are intoxicated by the silence that you are experiencing at that moment. You are in that. There is nothing for you to perceive. There is nothing for you to perceive. There is nothing for you to know. You are not there is vairagya. You are not interested in the world, but you are awake. But you are awake.
It's a very restful experience.
Very, very restful. Till you start thinking.
Yeah, and then
And it's a small window. And sometimes we go into it, then again we start we turn this way, we turn that way. Sometimes we are just lying there looking at nothing, but you are awake. Sometimes whole night passes that way, that you are awake and there are no thoughts, or sometimes there are thoughts, but you are absolutely awake. See? Go to a doctor and tell him this. He'll put you on some sleeping pills. Straight away. They don't understand this. So to change your, if you are awake and your mind is quiet at night, then it is not sleeplessness. Then what is it? Objectless awareness. Somehow, by grace, you have fallen into the state of objectless awareness. But because you don't know what that state is, you go to the doctor, you become afraid that I am not sleeping and I am not, but you don't feel tired next day. See? Awareness is, but it has not yet swallowed any object for cognition, because the Triputi of knower known knowledge has not yet manifested. This is the point of Yoga Bhumika, where Paramatma is present as a mere presence. What happens? This consciousness that we are, this awareness that we are, at that moment it is objectless awareness. Now what happens? The moment our eyes open, because the example was taken of eyelids opening and eyelids closing, or the eye of wisdom opening or closing. So the moment we accept some object into the awareness, we become aware of some object, at that very moment the Triputi will be born. That object may be outside in the gross world, or it may be in the mind also. I'm getting up in the morning, I'm in that neutral state, awake, but there's nothing to think about, and suddenly, after a few seconds, oh my God, it's 6:30. I have to get up quickly for to go to the class. Gone. Triputi began. Once the knowingness aspect becomes evident, the world of plurality and the tragic existence begins. Hence, Lord Krishna says that knowledge which is seeing the oneness in spite of manyness is divine knowledge. Hmm? So, the moment consciousness becomes aware of any object, subtle or gross, at that very moment the triad, the Triputi begins. And the moment Triputi begins, you have lost that objectless awareness. You have lost being the essence. It's not lost being the essence, you are still the essence. But we have not come to abide in it yet. Our focus goes on the Triputis, our focus goes on the thoughts. When one focuses the attention on this non-dual life principle, one is in tune with the truth. The sentiency along with the knowingness is existing in its full potentiality. The sentiency along with the knowingness is existing in its full potentiality, and yet the differences which take place on account of the knower-known knowledge trio have not yet been created. That position of our being is called the highest state of our existence. Meaning what? When you wake up in the morning, the potentiality in your mind to think of everything, of your children, of your grandchildren, of your job, of your class, of your whole day, about your body, about your hunger, about your thirst, about your projects, about your travels, about this, about that, everything is possible. But it has not started yet. See? Remain. We instead term it as, if it happens in the waking state, something like this, that potentiality is there. You know, I know her name. And you are thinking, but the name is not coming. We call it forgetfulness. You immediately term it, I'm losing my memory. Wrong. Why don't you take it positively? I'm in objectless awareness. The object is there in front,
Yes.
but I'm not taking it into the taking it in. See, the potential to know it is there. I know the information is there, but I choose to remain neutral, choose to remain unconcerned. It's not, that's the negative way of saying unconcerned, but the more I am with myself, to that extent the world the world will not make an impact. So when we say that the objects of the world have entered, the awareness becomes aware of the objects, means creation of the mind comes about. Objectless awareness, there is no mind. Mind can only come about when there is knower known knowing. experiencing. Only when the subject interacts with the object, then alone the mind comes about. Otherwise, it cannot. Otherwise, what is it? Otherwise, it is objectless awareness. It's pure awareness then. You are with yourself. And that is happening after every thought, after every breath. In deep sleep, our experience is I know nothing. This identification with ignorance is rejected when the sleep is shed. The identification with the gross body has not yet taken place, therefore, knowledge is also not accepted. That position is the one wherein we exist in our essential nature. That is the reason why the best time for meditation is in the small hours of the morning called the Brahma Muhurta, when Brahman is revealed. This cannot be described in any language. See? When we spontaneously, not because of an alarm, when we spontaneously wake up in the morning, the moment you become, the first moment of your waking up, what has happened? What was happening in the deep sleep? You were unaware of yourself, isn't it? You were ignorant about yourself. Deep sleep state is a state of ignorance. The moment you wake up, you become aware of yourself, that I am. But this has not come about. I am the body, I am sleeping, I have to wake up. All this has not started. Only you have become awake. See? Remain there. Remain there as much as possible. Because eventually it is going to happen. But the more we remain there,
You sleep off.
Pardon me?
You sleep off. You remind like that.
Yes, you sleep off because you are not used to remain in objectless awareness. You know only two ways. Either you sleep or you think. You don't know the in-between part, which is you.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So keep making it happen again and again. If you sleep off, again, if you sleep off, you will wake up again, won't you?
Yeah.
So instead of thinking that I slept off, that I again lost it, don't think that way. The moment again you sleep off, again you wake up, remain there 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, whatever it is.
Another opportunity.
Another opportunity. And it can, in the morning it can happen few times. Remain there. Slowly come to that point again and again. It's again question. What do we say single pointedness is? We drop all the thoughts and we come to think about the self. Here we are not thinking, it is naturally our mind is empty. The moment you wake up, the mind is empty. Train your mind not to start thinking that, oh my God, I had gone to sleep again. This is what happens. Oh my God, I dozed. Oh my God, I was snoring. Don't.
Sometimes
Instead, take it as an opportunity, because mind is going there anyway, by default. But catch the opportunity. You were saying?
Sometimes we get a halfway sleep. We feel that we are not sleeping. What's that time?
No, if you are saying we are not sleeping, then that is wrong.
That
That is not the one. That is not the one, because then you are got some object to contemplate, and that object is sleep.
Yeah.
So you are in the mind.
Other time.
You are in the mind, because you are what do you call? You are talking to yourself. Objectless awareness is where there is no dialogue in the mind, not even that I am not sleeping, oh my God, I feel I am tired or I have to get up, I've got so many things to do tomorrow and I have not slept. Nothing like that.
You're worn out before you get up.
Then you feel very tired when you wake up, when you have thought so much in the morning. But if you remain in objectless awareness, if you remain empty, and you know you are awake, experiment with it again and again. Sleep comes, what can you do? But don't think about sleep. Think about, I must catch that point. Okay, again, catch it again, catch it, again, catch it. And slowly, slowly, the impact of the sleep will be overcome. What is the position of that at that time? The truth is other than the known and the unknown. What is the truth? Known is the world of names and forms, the thoughts. And what is unknown? The deep sleep state. So the known is waking and dream world, and the unknown is the deep sleep world. I am independent of the waking and the dream and the deep sleep, the known and the unknown. Come to this conclusion. The moment you come to this conclusion, it goes deep into you, immediately you will not initiate any thinking. That which is other than the deep sleep state, the unknown, and the waking state, the known, and that which is abundantly present in both and yet not influenced by both, that is the real I. That which is not abundantly present in both. Can the waking and the deep sleep appear without the original I, absolute I? No. Does the mind need to be empty in order for I to express itself? I'm asking a question. Does the mind need to empty in order for the I to express itself? The absolute I? No.
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 Okay.
Do the thoughts have to vanish in order for the absolute I to manifest?
I don't think they'll ever vanish completely.
On me?
They don't ever vanish, they just keep flowing, don't they?
But there's one after the other, no?
I-
So we are saying that you catch it between the two thoughts, but my question is, do the thoughts have to vanish completely in order for the I to manifest? Without a thought? The absolute I. No. Do the waves have to disappear for water to manifest? Do the waves have to vanish? So, presence of the waves is supported by water, absence of waves is supported by water. Exactly the same way, the presence of thoughts is supported by the reality, the pure I, and the absence of the thoughts, which is the deep sleep state, the unknown, is also supported by the self alone. Be that. Rather, what are we at this moment? We are only thinking. We are in the mind. This is not object. At this moment, if your attention is on the thoughts, then you are not, it is not objectless awareness. You are not with yourself. But if at this moment, while you are listening, you know somewhere deep inside that your being is that, you are that one in whose presence the thoughts are coming and going, the breath is coming and going. And even if for a second it clicks at this very moment, that you are independent, that you are in and through all the thoughts, you are in and through the absence of thoughts, You are the principle which has supported all the thoughts of the past, all the thoughts of the present, and will continue to be in the future. You have never come and gone. Thoughts have come and gone, but you have never come and gone. You are the supporter of the waker, dream, and deep sleep. So I'm not affected. I support both the presence and the absence. I support both the known and the unknown. See? Be that. Be that. Because we can't stop the thoughts from coming. Eventually they will come. When we wake up, we are in that objectless awareness. After that, thoughts will come. And we get caught up in the web of thoughts by taking on a certain personality or whatever. We identify with those thoughts. The thought says, you are the body. I'm the body. The body is hungry. Yes. The body says, I am hungry because the hunger pangs are there. And what do you say? I am hungry because of the identification. If you are aware, you will do what is required. The hunger you will go to the food, you will eat the food, you will satisfy your hunger, but you will not be attached to it. You will not lose being the awareness. Awareness is lost the moment we get identified. And this way, this is the supreme, that is the real I. This is that awareness wherein the contents called the seer and the seen in the form of pairs of opposites have not yet been born. This is the supreme self, one's own essential nature, the effortless existence, where the mind is undivided, where knowledge and ignorance are both rejected. Knowledge and ignorance are both rejected. Sometimes we are sitting somewhere having a tea in our garden or in our house. Sometimes watching TV. And someone comes and asks you, hey, what was the news? I don't know. But you're watching? Yeah, I'm watching, but I was not watching. We say that way, isn't it? Where were you? You were aware of yourself at that. So, even though the objects are present, but you are not available to them. Even though thoughts are present, but you are not available to the thoughts, meaning you are not giving attention and value to the thoughts. You are the awareness. This is the supreme self, one's own essential nature, the effortless existence, where the mind is undivided, where knowledge and ignorance are both rejected. So mind has not comes into existence only when it accepts the object in its womb. And what is mind essentially? Consciousness, awareness. When it accepts an object into its womb, immediately the subject, the object, because the object has come, immediately the subject must be born. And the instrument of knowledge, the mind is created. But if you don't remain neutral all the time. Remaining neutral is being a witness. Remaining neutral is not giving value and attention to the objective world. Remaining neutral is being with yourself as yourself. Being neutral means coming to that position where you are supporting the presence and absence of both the knower and the known, and not getting influenced by it, whether it is there or not there. That is being neutral. When you are in a neutral car is in the neutral, accelerator may be going on, smoke is coming out, but the car is not going anywhere. Isn't it? Exactly the same way. When you are in neutral, let the mind do what it wants. It is a product of its own journey. But you are not going anywhere. If I am talking to you, I have accepted you in my object of conscious awareness, immediately I am going to you because this interaction has begun. Then I drop you, I go to her, then I drop her, I go to him. So I'm traveling continuously, isn't it? Being neutral means being available to all. There, actually speaking, all also does not come, just being.
The desire for the objects would wane because
Absolutely, absolutely,
the natural being.
absolutely. That's the best way. The state of awareness cannot be understood. Understanding means concept formation, which is essentially a monumental hurdle in the spiritual path. So people want to understand God, people want to understand Paramatma, people want to understand awareness, people want to understand the essence, the people want to understand life, the people want to understand the spirit. As long as these are used as a word in the mind, they create a concept, and therefore the scripture use a language of self-cancellation, contradiction, so that no concept is created in the mind and you remain who you are. Mind can never come to know the self. Yato vacho nivartante. The self is that from where even the speech returns. So just speech is the quality of, sound is the quality of, space. Space is the subtlest. Space, air, fire, water, earth. Earth being the grossest. Space is the subtlest. And sound is the quality of space. Yato vacho nivartante. So that spirit, that self, from where even the speech returns, meaning no sound, no thought can ever come. This is the supreme state of evolution, wherein the knower known, the meditator, the individual, and the meditated upon merge in the one non-dual existence that I am. And this that I am is a thought-free knowing, thought-free. You don't require the thought. And even if the thought is there, it does not matter, because you are still. You are not attached to that thought. No, mind is saying, let it say, what can I do? But I am still, I am supporting that thought also. I am expressing as that thought also. I am independent of that thought also. In this way, Sant Jnaneshwara has given us two examples of the wave and of sleep, through which the seeker is helped to lay the foundation for the ultimate union with the self. These exercises help in clearing the mind of all its miry contents and prepare one to observe it without bias. Now you'll say, but how? Explain, how will this happen? How will clarity come? Until unless you do not practice this, clarity will not come. Until unless you do not think of sleep, sleep will not come. Similarly, you have to expose yourself to that juncture between the two thoughts. You have to keep contemplating on the self and accepting yourself as the one who is supporting the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper, yet independent of the waker, dreamer and deep sleeper. So whatever the examples, the two examples, take that and be and be and be. The more you interact with this information, and what is that information? Be with yourself as the presence. It will start clicking. It is not that I have to know first and then I have to practice. No. Thinking about being the self is not a practice. Being the self is the most natural state. You are always. It is unnatural to think. It is unnatural to think. Because if it was natural, then you will not stop thinking. Then you will not run away into deep sleep, tired of thinking. It's natural to be. So in this way, now a third example is taken. We'll just look at it for a minute and then conclude. नाना एका ठाउनी उठी अन्यत्र नवे पैठी हे गमे तैसिया दृष्टि दिठी सुता. Or it is like the vision which has been lifted from one object but has not yet gone to the other object. This is what I had already preempted, not having read, but examples are like that. I'm looking at you, but I have to go to the next one, but there is a gap between dropping your form and going to the next form. Isn't it? So, in this manner, Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, or the vision has lifted from one object of knowledge, but it has not yet landed on another object of knowledge. The term drishti stands for all the sense organs by the lakshana vritti in the perception of an object. Three aspects are involved. The object of knowledge, B, the mind taking shape of the object in the form of thought of the object, and C, this thought bathing in the light of consciousness, thus resulting in the reflection of consciousness in the thought. Now we'll look at this again in our next class. Let's not just stay with the two examples. What were they? That was the example of the sleep, and there was the example of the ocean and the wave. And contemplate on those till we meet in our next class. The most wonderful part of studying with Jnaneshwar Maharaj is the examples that he gives. I'm taking Bhagavad Gita of Jnaneshwar Maharaj. There also, for every verse, there are so many examples. Here also, such a transcendental topic, yet so many examples, so many ways of approaching it, so that we do not get stuck anywhere. We come to be who we are essentially. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. You want to sit, you are allowed. You can sit down.